Morning, everyone. My name is Bill Bergman, and I will be chairing this meeting of the Philadelphia Zoning Board of Adjustment. With me is our Board Vice Chair, Tanetta Graham,
Present, Mr. Chairman.
our Board Secretary, Sheila L. Gaston,
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Board Member Michael Johns,
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Board Member Taya Nguyen. She should be on any minute. And our Board Member, Ryan McAdams.
Present, Mr. Chairman.
Also present is our Board Attorney, Hillary Emerson, our Zoning Board Executive Director, Ian Haggerty, and our Board Administrator, Lakeisha Dandy. A recording of this hearing will be posted on the ZBA website. By participating, you consent to be recorded. This is an in-person meeting with remote capabilities. Whether remote or in person, if you're called to testify, you must state and spell your name and then wait to be sworn in. Once you've been sworn in, please state your name each time before beginning your testimony. Any person may enter an appearance. You can identify the case property address on your Zoom webinar. You can see a staff member, or you can call the ZBA appearance line by the close of business tomorrow. Call 267-270-5548. Leave a message that includes your email address and the address of the property of the appeal case. The following guidance is for remote attendees. When directed, you must raise your virtual hand in order to be recognized to speak. If you're called to testify, you'll be prompted to join as a panelist. Please accept the request and turn on your camera. The webinar Q&A is for questions about the hearing. Do not comment on cases in the Q&A. And if you're participating by phone, press *9 to raise your hand and *6 to unmute. For in-person attendees, please refrain from talking, eating, or drinking during the hearings. Verbal and physical aggression will not be tolerated. Restrooms are across from the elevators. A water fountain is just outside the room to the right. Restrooms are across from the elevators. A water fountain is just outside the room to the right. When speaking on the record, you must speak directly into the microphone in order to be heard by all attendees and the court reporter. In the event of an emergency, please follow the directions given over the public address system or by the staff. The main exit is through the double doors at the rear of the room. The nearest stairwell is to the left outside the doors. In case of an evacuation, the rally point is Love Park, directly across from Arch Street. Please remain there so we can account for you. Let's look at our schedule for today. Number two, MI 2025-001-462, 2245 North 17th Street. That case is continued until June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Number three, MI 2025-004-101, 5944 Calla Street. That case is continued until June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Number six, MI 2025-006-729, 4255 Main Street. That case is continued to 9/30/2026 at 9:30 a.m. And number eight, MI 2026-001-452, 114 North Beechwood Street. That case is continued until June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. Any other requests for continuance? We're going to start with number 5.
Chair, I'm
Yes.
sorry, we have one hand raised from Vern Anastasia.
Sure.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Good morning, Vern. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I certainly do.
And could you spell your name for the stenographer?
Sure. It's Vern Anastasio, Anastasio, on behalf of Mr. Rudy Tefani.
Okay, sure, that's number 2. I already continued that.
Oh,
Vernon.
I'm sorry. I didn't hear
No,
it.
that's good.
Yeah.
I knew
Thank
that
you.
you wanted to continue, so I continued that until June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Sure.
day.
All right. Any other requests for continuance?
No hands at this time, Chair.
Okay. See here. Number 5, MI 2025 005 345 6040 Edmund Street. Savivian Rodriguez is the owner applicant. This is a resumptive hearing.
Could that person please raise their hand? No hands at this time, Chair.
Wait a minute, our council just gave me a.
Yeah, so, Mr. Chair, Mr. Rodriguez is having problems getting on the Zoom, so
Sure.
we're working with him on that. You could call the next case and we'll come
Sure,
back to him.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Okay. Number 7, MI 2026 000 6302 Gerard Avenue. Joseph Consul is the attorney.
They're being promoted to panelists. Chair.
He's here. Good morning. Mr. Consul, could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Yeah, it's Joseph Consul, Joseph, last name Consul, Console.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Could you identify your client in relationship to the property?
Yes, it's Donald Vodopija, and he is the owner of the property and sitting right next to me.
And we have a recommendation of support from HMC Squared RCO. Our vice chair has a few questions.
Sure.
Good morning. Have you submitted your documents and exhibits 5 days in advance of this hearing?
Yes,
And do you waive the no refusal or stipulate to its accuracy?
I do.
Okay, thank you. You can share your screen. Proceed with your case.
Okay, we're up 6203 West Gerard Avenue. I've got the owner of the property, Mr. Donald Vodopija, with me in the room. And we're here because this property is located in RSA 5 residential district. We're seeking approval to permit a multifamily 3 residential unit use in this space. This is a fairly straightforward revitalization project. This property, as far as my client knows and as far as the RCO knows, has been vacant and dilapidated for over a decade. And my client's goal is to rehabilitate the property into 3 units. Now, that's not to say that it previously was not a multifamily property. The previous approvals for the property going back to the 1960s were 2 families, a 2-family dwelling on the 2nd floor and a large plumbing office storage of equipment space on the 1st floor. No one at the RCO really knew exactly what all went on there, but the use registration, that's what it states. The 2-unit rental license that existed on the property became inactive in December 22nd of 2012, and that's kind of when we peg the property for having gone derelict. Proof of mailing. Just a message from my client. Give you some photos. So the 1st floor, you'll see, is the old plumbing space. The property takes up both the, sort of building you're looking at here, but also the one on the left on the screen too. So it's a double wide property, which I'll show you the full scope in a minute. These are just my posters. So that kind of gives you the full scope of what the property looks like. It's both of those for lack of a better term, buildings. On the right is the entrance to what would get you upstairs to the 2 units. There's an entrance to the first floor there. There's also an entrance around the side through what is kind of like a drive aisle underneath the bump out on Looker's left, where that gate is now. It probably looks like on the side. So the other side of the building. If you're looking from the inside to where that gate is, you can see that there is an entrance to the units on the left there. One of the units above bumps out above, and as far as we can tell, that was a way for them to deliver things at one point during its career as a plumbing whatever it was. Meters in the basement. Showing what the interior of the property looks like now. I'll get to the plans in a second. As mentioned, we went in front of the RCO last week. They were very receptive to rehabilitating this property. This part of West Girard Avenue is sort of mismatched. There's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not by any means, I don't think there's any single family homes anywhere nearby. It's a lot of different uses, multifamily, automotive, things like that. In addition to the support of the RCO, my client has gotten the support by going door to door and meeting a lot of the local neighbors, property owners, business owners, and has provided petitions of support for the rehab of this property. Here's our plans. Start with the first floor. It's going to be 3 one-bedroom units. So there's one on the first floor, as mentioned, and then on the right, you can see the second floor, which mimics the previously approved units. Sorry, I can't get a great shot. And incidentally, it's my client's goal to live in this property along with a member of his family and then a third renter as well.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can we make this a little bigger?
Yeah,
Thank you.
tell me where you want it. My Zoom was kind of like put me all over the place. That works? Okay. I'm gonna go like that. You can go slowly go down. That's sort of the bulk of my presentation. We believe rehabilitating the space into a space that was 3 units, albeit one of them commercial, makes sense. And my client is going to live there and make the property nice.
Could you bring your client on, please?
Yes.
And
With that, I'll call Donald Vodapia to adopt my testimony.
good morning, sir. Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Good morning. My name is Don Vodapia. Full name spelled D-O-N-A-L-D. Last name V-O-D-O-P-I-J-A.
You swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Counsel?
Good morning, Don. Did you hear my testimony just now regarding your property at 6203 West Girard Avenue?
Yes.
Do you agree with what I said and do you adopt it as your own?
Yes, everything is true.
Okay.
Questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. What's the use of the what was, I guess, the vehicular access aisle aisle? So it's going to be a garage in the back?
Yes, the plan is to just keep it as a garage. We don't have permitting for parking at the current moment. We explained to the RCO that we plan to have our trash there as well to avoid it from being on the street side and, overflowing with trash. So as of now, we'll just use it as a space, use the garage and have the trash and everything on the side of the aisle.
Okay, so will the garage be used for the tenants, or is that just for your use, or how does that work?
My uncle's going to be living there. I plan to live there as well, so probably just storage for myself and if a tenant wants to store something there.
Okay. Is that first floor unit still going to retain some access to that side from the unit or no?
Oh, yes, sir. So right there, you'll see is a back door. You can both go in. You have access and egress for the first floor as well as the second floor from that back door exit there.
Okay, because I'm looking at the plan, but the plan, I see it on the picture, but I don't see it on your floor plan. Where is that door on your floor plan?
So if you look on the left-hand side, you see where the stairs,
Yeah, uh-huh.
stair leads to that door to go out.
Isn't that the first floor though?
Yes.
There's no door there. I mean, it's not on your plan. Or is that the door, is that the access to the basement?
Yeah, so that's the access to the basement. My mistake. My mistake. I'm looking at it the wrong way.
Is there a side entrance through?
Their side entrance goes up, and then there's a door that can lead you in. So there's a two-way door when you go through that side there.
Yeah, I think the plan is just off because
Yeah,
on
the plan may be off a little bit.
yeah, because your second floor plan shows that where it says unit 3, it shows a stairwell that I'm assuming is going down to that door.
Correct.
It's just something's just off. Okay, so the first floor will have access to that side.
Correct. That is correct.
All right. And okay. All right. Thank you.
There's two means of egress.
Yeah, egress and access. So from the first floor, you can get in through the front entrance, and then you can also get through that back door. So that back door has a two-way door, one to go up and then one to go to the side. I think the architect might have missed that detail.
Yeah, something's a little off because there's a bedroom there and there's a bathroom. So okay. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
So the tenants will have all tenants will have access to the trash receptacles and stuff, like you said you're gonna put it all in the back?
Yes, right there on that side path through, we're going to have our trash lined up there to avoid being on the street, because that's one of the complaints we got from the community, the overloading of trash and stuff like that in the area.
Thank you.
Questions from our attorney, Hillary Emerson?
Just one note, Mr. Consul, the zoning history that you showed, I didn't see that submitted anywhere. So if you could just submit that if you'd like it included for the record.
Oh,
By
you mean
tomorrow.
The Atlas history?
The Atlas history, the permit application that you showed with the plumbing office and the the
2 units.
permit for 2 units. Yes, the rental license. Yes.
want it-
Thank you.
Questions or comments from the audience or the virtual audience?
No hands at this time, Chair.
Planning Commission?
Mason Matera, Planning Commission staff, MADISON, MATERA.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please proceed.
The comprehensive plan recommends no change to the RSA 5 residential single-family zoning at this location. This property has a documented history as a 2-family dwelling with a commercial space. Converting the vacant commercial space into a 3rd unit brings the property into closer conformance with its residential zoning. The City Planning Commission recommends the board grant the proposed variance for 3 dwelling units.
Thank you. MI 2026-000483, 6203 West Girard Avenue. I vote yes.
Michael Johns, my vote is yes.
Cheryl Gaston, my vote is yes.
Tanetta Graham, my vote is yes.
Ryan McAdams, my vote is yes.
Kaya Wynn, my vote is yes.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Pardon me? Go back to number 5. MI 2025-005345, 6040 Edmond Street. Sevian Rodriguez is the owner.
They're being promoted to panelist, Chair.
Okay.
How you doing, everybody?
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
My name is Sabian Rodriguez. My name, the way how you spell it is Seivian. Rodriguez is Rodriguez.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, so this is a resumptive hearing. And what we're scheduled to do, you're going to present supplemental information that came out in the last hearing. There'll be
Okay.
questions from the board, and there'll be public testimony, and the planning commission will make a recommendation. So why don't you start your presentation? If you want, you can give us a quick overview of what you're trying to do and what the supplemental information is, okay?
Okay. So my apartment building, it has 2 units on the top. It has a basement that's in the front of the house that has a separate entrance. So I'm creating it as a unit for me and my wife to live. We're college students, so I was like, what's better than, having a place, renting out your own place. You know what I'm saying? You living in your own place, so I don't have to pay monthly rent. Um, because times is hard. So, I was like, make it to our own. So, we decided to put it as a unit to try to make it as an apartment, that basement, and then, we got stopped because of the, permits and all of that we, and because of the zoning.
So why don't you show photos again so you can.
Oh, so let me see right here. Pull up the photos. This is in a way. See, so these are this is the photos of the property. This is the front of the property. It's out the way. This is the front of the property right here. You see where the door is open. That's the unit that we're trying to make for us to live in. This is the side of the property right here. This is where you put the trash on the side of the property. This is unit 1. This is unit 2. This one goes upstairs to 1 unit. This second unit is in the bottom. And this is the back of the house. And this is photos of potentially unit 3. This is the living room slash kitchen. This is the laundry room. This is the hallway. This is living room. This is the other angle of the living room slash dining room slash kitchen. This is the bathroom.
Do you have plans for this to show us?
Yes, I have plans.
Why don't you show us the plans?
Okay, the plans.
This was a basement before with 2 apartments above?
Yes. So pull up the plans. Plans at all the plans right here. So this is the plans. So this is the potential unit right here. This is the entrance. This is where the kitchen is going to be at. This is where the living and dining room is going to be at. The restroom. This is the laundry room, and then this is going to be a bedroom, and it's the closet. And this is where you get to the water, the heat, the water, gas. And this is the second unit. This is the first unit. This is the one that you go upstairs, and there's the living, dining room, bathroom. And this is the third unit right here. Third unit.
So you currently have 2 units there.
Yeah, I currently have 2 units.
You're trying to convert the basement into another unit.
Yes.
And this is the supplemental information, is the drawings?
Yeah, this is the drawings. This is
Is
the
there anything else that you want to supplement this with?
I have more photos of the basement. So
I think we saw the photos.
yeah, okay.
Okay, questions from the board? Let me ask you this, what's the rest of the block? How many units are on the rest of the block? There are duplexes all along there?
Yeah, there's a duplex all along beside me.
Is this the first basement that's being converted to a third?
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I know there's properties in the area that also was a RSA 3, just like me, and got converted to RM1.
Questions from the board?
So your the mechanical for the upper units is in your unit, is in the basement.
Yes,
So you're going to keep the mechanical and the hot water for the units above in the in that unit, in that third unit.
yes,
Okay. I believe your basement is below grade and the back, so you would need egress wells out of the.
yes. This is right here in my drawings. This is the potential egress window. This is where it's currently
It's
planning to go to.
It's really below ground.
Yeah. You may have an issue with the ceiling height if your ceiling height is only 7 feet.
Yeah.
So, but that's all I have.
All right.
I mean, I'll just say that your living space still for the 2 units that you plan to rent out is still very small for the bedroom to public space ratio. So that is something, I know I mentioned it last time, that's still the case, but I do think that the plans are a lot easier to read, so thank you for doing that.
Questions from our attorney?
Just briefly, Mr. Rodriguez, there's no, excuse me, there's no parking at the property, is that correct?
Yeah, there's no parking, there's public parking.
Okay, all right, just wanted to check that because it is zoned RSA 3, which requires parking, and that was not noted on the refusal. Nothing you need to do, I'm just noting that for the record. So, thank you.
Okay, you are.
Questions or comments from the audience or the virtual audience?
No hands at this time, Chair.
Planning Commission.
Matera, Planning Commission staff. Comprehensive plan recommends no change to the RSA 3 residential single-family zoning at this location. There's a documented history of 2 dwelling units via a 2-unit rental license for this property. It appears the appellant did work to convert the basement into a dwelling unit without the benefit of permits. The appellant has not demonstrated that 3 units is the least minimum. The Planning Commission recommends the board deny the variance for 3 dwelling units.
MI 2025-005-345-6040 Edmund Street. I vote yes.
Michael Johns, my vote is yes.
Cheryl Gaston, my vote is yes.
Tanetta Graham, my vote is yes.
Ryan McAdams, my vote is yes.
Okay, Wayne, my vote is yes.
Thank you, sir. You have your votes.
Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Sure.
So what do I do for what is the next?
You can give the office a call. They'll take care of you, okay?
Okay, thank you so much. I
Sure.
really appreciate you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you to
All
all.
right. All right. Number 4, MI 2025-004-706, 184 Cotton Street. William O'Brien is the attorney. Okay. Mr. O'Brien will wait for this other attorney to come in. So, Mr. O'Brien, could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Yes, good afternoon. William O'Brien, William, O'Brien, Obrien.
All right. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Counsel, could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Richard Vanderslice for the neighbor Fran Pillar. V is in Victor, Anderslice.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
This is a resumptive hearing. And what we have here is the applicants will finish his presentation. Protestant will have his presentation. I do see a note here that the protestant's attorney may wish to cross-examine the property owner, but I think what we're going to do is start with Mr. O'Brien to finish your presentation, and then we'll go from there, okay?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, just to remind the board, At the last hearing, February 24th, I didn't get a chance to enter anything.
Okay,
So we
so,
need-
so
we
uh,
need to
you
start from the
do
beginning.
your presentation.
Thank you. I'm just rejoining now.
Oh, yeah, Mr. O'Brien, so you know, we have several complicated cases today, including, I'm going to call yours a complicated case. Maybe you will not call it a complicated case, but you have 30 minutes, and then we're going to have a resumptive hearing. I'm telling the both of you, okay?
I understand.
So if we can, we'd like to see you get this in 30 minutes.
In respect for the board's time, there's still an outstanding L&I appeal that affects this matter, which is why Mr. Pillar is contesting the matter. It affects the retaining wall that our position is it doesn't, their plans do not address the issue that's the portion of that appeal.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that that's what we're here to hear. Am I correct, Hillary?
It was the,
We're going to address that.
okay, you're gonna address, okay.
Yeah,
I was gonna
right.
say, I believe there was already some information submitted about the retaining wall discussed previously, and it's not on the subject property, if I'm correct? Okay.
It's an orphan parcel between Mr. Pillar's
Yeah,
property.
sure.
Yeah.
All right, so why don't you
So
start?
this is the refusal. There are the property zoned RSA 5. The proposed use, single-family attached homes, is consistent with the neighborhood. The two refusals, one is for not having a shared driveway for the parking, and the second is for disturbance of some steep slopes. Because of the topography, it's literally impossible to have a shared driveway, and you'll see that in a moment. And the steep slopes is actually the result of this failed retaining wall and how we're going to address it. The applicant met with the RCO, Manioc Neighborhood Council. Their position is non-opposition. Their report, which you have in front of you now, it's a little odd. There were 55 persons present, but only 34 votes were recorded. So I really can't explain that, but the position is non-opposition. This is an area, this is an atlas map. Here you see the location of the parcel. It's at the corner of Cotton Street and Boone Street. And as I said, with the exception of across the street, which is a former dining hall, which was converted to apartments, RM1, the rest of it is all RSA 5. Get some of those photographs, just have to change the size. Okay, so that is the existing attached single-family home at 184 Cotton Street. You see to the right, there's some green space that extends approximately 60 feet to Boone Street. And behind that post on the porch, you can see a stone wall. That's the failed retaining wall. This is the view from Boone Street. And this is a view from the top of that wall at Boone Street looking down. The structure you see behind those saplings, those trees, is the 184 Cotton Street. That's the structure. And the change in grade is approximately 20 feet from Boone Street down to that house. This is another image, a bit of a closer image showing the failed retaining wall. This was cited by the city in 2008 as being imminently dangerous. Its condition hasn't changed since then. I'll come back to more of that in a second. This is the subdivision plan. Here you see the existing condition. Here is the 3-story house. And then to the right, going east, is open area, and then Boone Street here at the right. And the proposal is to subdivide it into 3 lots. rebuilding a new home where the existing house is on Cotton Street and introducing 2 new homes on Boone Street, premises C and premises D. Above premises D, where I'm moving the cursor, you can see the wall and the note dilapidated stone retaining wall section. As you can see, it's not on the lot. It turns out that the wall is on an orphan parcel. The properties to the south, to the north, are 4334 and 4334 and a half Boone Street. Their legal descriptions come down and there's about a 3-foot gap, and that's where this wall sits. So we attempted to file a development plan, and we were told, no, you can't, we don't accept development plans when there's an unsafe condition. We said, no, we know the house is unsafe and we're filing an application to demolish it. No, there's a wall. We time out, the wall's not on our property. Well, there's nothing we can do. Licenses and inspections cited your property and the neighbor's property, and you're gonna have to live with it. So we filed an appeal to the Board of Building Standards. The board suggested that because of the proximity of this parcel D and the failed retaining wall, it was suggested that we incorporate our foundation and the failed retaining wall to correct the problem. We agreed to do that. The board said, okay, we'll file an application to demolish, file an application with your structural plans showing that you're going to incorporate this failed retaining wall into the foundation. Then you'll be able to submit your zoning application, your development plan. So that was the recommendation. Here's the notice of decision. We have applicant has 120 days from today's date to apply for a make safe permit for the retaining wall, demolition for the house, and a zoning permit for the new construction. We did get an extension to that. Ultimately, we submitted a complete set of structural plans. This is page S30. I think the whole set is about 30 pages long. But you can see this detail. I'll make it as large as I can. This detail, it shows the retaining wall on the left, the failed retaining wall, and then the new stone foundation. This was reviewed by L&I and approved, and part of that application included an affidavit from the structural engineer. This is to certify that we have evaluated the condition of the existing retaining wall between the property at 184 Cotton Street and 4334 and 4334 and a half Boone Street, and it is our professional opinion that this wall can be and will be incorporated as part of the structural design foundation wall system for the proposed 3-story building on 184 Cotton Street. Let me show you what is proposed for this site. So this, there is a one-page proviso plan. We met with the civic groups zoning committee. There were some suggestions made which were incorporated into the design you see. Originally, we had the parking next to each other with one large curb cut. The RCO observed that if we separated the parking garages, that it would provide an on-street parking space. So we made that change. And then additionally, you'll see in subsequent renderings, the original pilot houses for the roof decks were at the far ends of each house. We moved them to the middle so that there was less visual clutter from those that live to the east. This is an image showing So this is the proposed new house on Cotton Street. And these are the two houses proposed for Boone Street, showing the rear of the Boone houses and the front of the 184 Cotton Street. They all have roof decks. They're all height compliant. This is a side view showing, so Cotton Street is on the city plan. It is not open. As you can see, it's a sidewalk with stairs to Boone Street. That will be retained and landscaped. The regarding the driveways, this block of Boone Street has approximately 13 driveways, curb cuts. Some of them are new construction. I can move to the elevation plans and the floor plans. How am I doing on time?
Okay.
All right.
I'm watching our counsel over there. She's
Okay.
watching the time, okay?
Okay, there we go. So you can see the houses on Boone Street are in the center. You have a garage. It is the second level. There's a basement, then the garage, and then 2 floors above the garage level. And then the house on Cotton Street, same thing. There's a basement with 3 levels above the basement. So this is the first floor, the Boone Street properties. You see the garage, a covered entry. There's space in the garage to store trash, guest suite, bathroom. Second floor, this is the basement rather. It shows the rear yard. Sorry, that's the first floor. That was the basement was the first floor. So this is the garage, first floor plan. This is the basement plan, showing the staircase down from the entrance, a media room, staircase to a rear yard. Second floor, kitchen, dining, covered deck. Primary bedroom, 2 second bedrooms, total of 2 baths, laundry, walk-in closets on that floor. And then a roof deck. And as I said, the staircases are moved to the center so that there's less obstruction for those that have houses to the east of this. I think that's the substance of my presentation. Be happy to answer questions.
Why don't you bring your client on?
Sure.
Adopt your testimony.
Steve Ashevsky could raise his hand.
No hands raised at this time, Chair.
Okay, so you're an officer of the court. We'll take your testimony. Counsel, you want to start your presentation?
I'm sorry, Chair, a hand just went up.
Okay, okay.
They're being promoted to panelists.
Thank you very much. Mr. Oshevsky?
Steve, are you muted? Can you unmute yourself?
Do we see him?
They're currently a panelist at the sound chair.
Okay. Mr. Oshevsky? He must be having a hard time with his.
Can you mute, Mr. Oshevsky?
Chair, we have another hand raised from a Andrew Molson.
Is Mr. Molson part of the, Mr. Molson, can he testify to this? Yeah, Mr. Molson,
They're being promoted to panel.
thank you. Mr. Molson?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, it can. Mr. Molson,
Okay, great.
could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Andrew Molson, AndreWMulson.
Mr. Molson, could you turn your video on?
Yes,
All right. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Oh, thank you. Counsel?
Thank you. Mr. Molson, are you a managing member of Cotton Street Partners, the owner of 184 Cotton Street?
I am.
And were you present during the testimony I offered to the zoning board?
I was.
Was I truthful and complete?
Yes,
Do you adopt my testimony as your own?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please stay on, Mr. Molson.
Right.
The attorney for the neighbor may have some questions.
I will.
Counsel, would you start your presentation?
Sorry, do you have questions for the owner at this time or? Okay, all right, thank you.
Good. Yeah, just if you could maybe get a little closer. There you go. There
Okay.
you go.
Perfect.
Please.
Thank you. Mr. Pillar owns 4334 and 4334 and 1/2 Boone Street, which are directly adjacent to the proposed project.
Right.
His concerns are twofold, both dealing with the steep slope component of where the Boone Street Partners want to erect 2 additional premises in addition to the existing premises. First is he has not heard a hardship that would overcome the steep slope regulations. Further, the application to satisfy the pending or the what was an outstanding L&I violation for the collapsed wall. That addressed the property at 4334 Boone Street. It did not address the portion of the wall at 4334 and 1/2 Boone Street. Based upon that, and what was referred to in the main presentation as a deed gap, Mr. Pillar has appealed the determination of the Department of License and Inspections of that curing of the violation. Basically, his position is the application to cure the violation was based on an inaccurate survey that contravened decades of decisions by the Department of License and Inspection, as well as surveys commissioned by the survey district. I uploaded a December 3rd, 2025 letter to Mr. O'Brien that outlines this in detail and would ask that that be made a part of the record. I do have copies for the panel if the
You
board
can,
would like.
you can bring that up on, are you?
Yeah, I had trouble logging in. I don't know.
Okay.
Did you, did you include my response to that letter?
I did not.
Why not?
I have a copy. I can get it up.
Okay, so stuff needs to be submitted electronically, so, and then if you don't have it, if it hasn't already been submitted to the board by close of business tomorrow, it needs to be submitted to be included in the record.
I uploaded it prior to uploaded both documents I'm going to discuss. Additionally, there's an outstanding appeal with the Department of License and Inspection regarding this issue. Basically, Mr. Pillar, the next door neighbor, who is one of the parties that should be responsible for maintaining the wall, in addition to the owner of 184 Cotton Street, as has been determined by over decades by the department. The way it is proposed and the way that it is being submitted to this panel, it removes the responsibility of maintaining the retaining wall and providing support for 4334 and 4334 and 1/2 Boone Street, and takes it off of the Boone Street partners and whoever purchases the property, puts it on Mr. Pillar. So based upon the outstanding appeal and the discrepancy in the lot lines, Mr. Pillar objects, and lack of demonstration of hardship, Mr. Pillar objects to a variance based on the steep slope requirement.
Okay. Is that your presentation?
Yes.
If I may, just briefly, at pages 62 and 63 of the materials, this is not my response to Mr. Vanderslice's December 3rd, 25 letter, but it's a summary of it. I can certainly supplement the record just so that there's a response to go along with Mr. Vanderslice's record, and I will do that. But this is a summary of the two issues: one, the failed retaining wall, and secondly, the unsafe violation. And then the derivation, the reason why we're certain that this retaining wall is not on Mr. Pillar's property and it's not on my client's property is a 1948 plan, which I'm showing here. It's on page 63 of the materials. You can see the stone retaining wall is in limbo. It's between 184 Cotton Street and between 4443 and 34.5 Cotton Street. There's a gap in the legal descriptions, and that's where this retaining wall stands. The benefit to Mr. Pillar is that the original violation notice suggested he had to correct this. My client's bearing this. We're going to correct it. And the reason that there's a steep slope disturbance is because we're correcting this failed retaining wall. This is a win for the neighborhood. This is a win for Mr. Pillar. His objection, frankly, is confusing. Thank you.
Do you want to respond again?
Sure. On April 14th, 2008, the Department of License Inspections issued an interoffice memo, which is attached to my December 3rd letter, which, based upon the survey that is also part of that letter, and determined that the boundary line goes down the middle of the wall. And based upon that, it is Mr. Pillar's position that the application to correct the violation issued by the Department of License and Inspection was based on an inaccurate survey, which this proposed subdivision is also based upon. There should be no deed gap. It was rectified by the work of the city almost 2 decades ago. And Mr. Pillar would ask that any plans, at the very least, take into account what has been determined by the city. And it is unclear why he didn't get notice of this application to correct and move a boundary line in effect.
Hillary, how are we doing on time?
We're doing fairly well, Mr. Chair. We have 10 or so minutes left.
Okay.
I won't belabor it. I just for the record,
Yeah,
if I can supplement my response to Mr. Vanderslice, that letter. And then also, Mr. Pillar did appeal 2 violations. Those appeals were then dismissed for non-appearance, and I can upload those as well. There's much ado about nothing at this point.
Thank you. Questions from the board?
Yes, could you just help me out as I'm a visual learner? Could you go back to the picture that you showed of the units that are going to be built, and the relationship to the Bone Street properties? I think it was the renderings.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just would like for you, if you could, to point out the property line that we're talking about.
Okay, so this is the subdivision plan. This might be easier to talk about.
This was the photos, it was the renderings.
I'm sorry?
It was the photos, the rendering photos, yeah, the renderings.
Here?
That, go up a little bit. There it is, right there.
Okay.
Right. If you
So
could blow that up,
where would
could
the
you just show me where?
Where's the wall?
Yeah.
The wall is, it's behind the building on the left. So let me go back to this image. So the building on the right, which is the northernmost building, the retaining wall is next to this foundation. And it's below grade. It's because of the change in grade from Boone, you can't see it. But I can bring the detail up again.
No.
The city reviewed the plans, the structural plans, and was satisfied that this will address this. unsafe condition.
So that the foundation will be, the wall will be built in the foundation of that unit, right? Okay, all right, thank you.
So just piggybacking on that, because I'm still a little confused. So there was it sounded from one attorney that there was what is it? What do we call it? Not even a relocation of lot lines, I'll say, right? It's about a decade ago, he said, that made the center line of this current retaining wall the center line between the 2 properties. Did I hear that correctly?
No, so what happened, our first existing conditions plan from the 9th Survey District 3 years ago, has taken a while to get here, had a roughly 2.5-foot wide strip where the retaining wall was in, and there was a note, the 2008 notation that John Parkinson, the opposing counsel, just mentioned. When he made this report, he opined that the property owners on both sides had to share the responsibility. When we got that retaining wall, we saw this strip, I said, wait a minute. Every deed for 184 Cotton Street going back 150 years has the depth along Boone Street 48 feet. It doesn't go beyond 48 feet. So doing some research, we came up, Dan Burke, the surveyor of the 9th Survey District, found this plan from 1948, which confirmed that 184 Cotton Street is south of this retaining wall. It's not on this lot. He then went in and looked at the legal descriptions of all 3 lots and said, aha, it's an orphan parcel. The retaining wall is not on Mr. Pillar's property, and it's not on 184 Cotton Street. It's an orphan parcel.
So that's, you're contending that, but the opposing attorney is contending that that's not true,
Well,
right? Is that what am I hearing that correctly?
No, I'm relying on the 9th Survey District and their analysis that this wall is on an orphan parcel. It's not on Mr. Pillar's property.
Yeah, I understand your point. I want to hear from the other attorney. Am I right that that's what you're saying? The other.
I believe you summarized Mr. Pillar's position correctly. The later determination by the department and the survey district was that the property line ran down the middle, and if called to testify, Mr. Pillar would state that there are actually pins in the middle of the stone wall that I don't think a picture has been shown of, but what is the current condition that indicate where that property line should be. I'm unclear as to why the newer survey did not use those pins.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I heard both correctly.
Yeah,
So now the other attorney, and I'm sorry, can't remember your name. You're saying that under your plan, you are rectifying the condition of this retaining wall. Are you then, but you're rectifying are you repairing the retaining wall and you're building a new retaining wall on your property line to address the steep slopes? Or are you moving your wall to the retaining wall location and repairing the retaining wall?
We are incorporating the failed retaining wall within, as part of the foundation wall for the proposed single-family home on parcel D.
So you're extending, so are you extending your property line to that existing retaining wall location to be able to do that? Or no?
Well, I think it's probably fair that we're going to encroach. Again, the Ninth Survey District reviewed Mr. Parkinson, who's a former regulator and surveyor of the Ninth Survey. Dan Burke, the current surveyor, reviewed his 2008 memo, reviewed the 1948 plan, and concluded that Mr. Parkinson was incorrect, that this wall is not on 184. It's not one of the Boone Street properties. It's an
Got that. So, but in order to you're going to rectify the issue of the failed retaining wall by encroaching upon the area of this 2-foot area in order to do that. Am I correct?
I don't believe it's actually going to encroach. It is
Didn't
so
you just
close.
say that, though?
I think it's so close. Let me show you. This is the detail from the.
Thought you said your lot didn't touch, that this was an orphan, that it's a 3-foot wide orphan property. So for you to build a foundation up against the wall, your foundation wall is now on the orphan property.
It's going to be next to it. Yes, it's going to carry the load that the failed retaining wall was carrying before it failed.
So is the retaining wall sitting on the demising wall between your property and the orphan property? Is that the argument that?
I don't know what argument Mr. Pillar is making.
No, I'm asking your argument.
Yeah.
Because you're saying there's a 3-foot wide orphan property. Is
We
the
couldn't
retaining
speak to the Board of
wall?
Building Standards because we couldn't submit an application.
No, I understand what you did. I'm
I
asking a
understand.
very
Can you
practical
can you
question
help
about
us?
location.
Can you help us solve this?
I hear you. I got what the board asked. I'm just asking a very simple question. There's an orphan property, there's your property. Is the retaining wall on the demising wall between the ghost property and your property?
No.
The failed retaining wall is not on 184 Cotton Street. It's right next to it.
So where is this repair? Where is this
So
repair?
how are you repairing it if you are sistering your foundation to it and you're not building on it?
I'm just a lawyer.
Yeah. I was like, but it means the construction by definition has to happen.
Why don't you show what it looked like,
Yeah.
though?
Yeah,
No, I saw what it looked like. That's why I know that I'm correct. I'm asking for clarity because your detail shows that you are literally attaching your foundation wall to the retaining wall. It's like the same way you would sister a joint or a beam. You are literally tying them together by steel, which means that they have to be on the same property. So I'm asking, is your foundation on the orphan property, or is the retaining wall the dividing line between your property and the orphan property? And that is the issue.
Show that detail.
Our foundation wall will go on our property and tie into the foundation wall.
So it is on the demising wall. So the answer to my question is yes.
Yes, we're going to tie into that.
And isn't that what Ellen and I told you to do?
That's what the Board of Building Standards
Right.
asked us to do.
Right.
We submitted
Okay.
structural plans.
Right,
They
yeah.
were adopted
Okay,
and
all right,
again.
yeah, right, okay. Any other questions? Questions from our attorney?
Not at this time, Mr. Chair.
Questions or comments from the virtual audience? Or the audience?
Chair, we
here?
have a hand up from Andrew Molson.
Yeah, we just had him.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Molson?
Yes, I just want to clarify Mr. O'Brien's statement. We will be within our property and not encroaching onto the orphan parcel. The detail F7 shows that the foundation wall will go right up along where the property line is. It will not encroach into the area once it is completed. Any retaining wall that's encroaching onto our property line will be where it is pinned and tied together. But the wall itself, when finalized, will only be within our 48-foot frontage. It will not extend beyond our 48-foot frontage,
Okay.
for clarity.
Anyone else in the audience?
No hands at this time, Chair.
Planning Commission.
Madison Matera, Planning Commission staff. The comprehensive plan recommends no change to the existing RSA 5 residential single-family zoning at this location. At its May 15th, 2025 meeting, the City Planning Commission voted in favor of the plat adjustment that created the 3 parcels from one existing parcel to support this project.
MI 2025-004-706, 184 Cotton Street.
If I may,
I've-
the refusal is a revised refusal.
Give me a chance. I didn't get to that point yet, please. Okay. I vote yes with proviso. Per refusal dated 12/3/25. Revised plans, 1 page, stamped by TBA on April 7th, 2026.
Michael Johns, my vote is yes with proviso.
Cheryl Gaston, my vote is yes with proviso.
Tanetta Graham, my vote is yes with proviso.
Ryan McAdams, my vote is yes with proviso.
Taya Wynn, my vote is yes with proviso.
Thank the both of
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, council.
Take care.
Okay, so now, number 1. MI 2021-004-541, 251 Ripka Street. David Orphanides, he's the attorney. I think he went outside. Mr. Orphanides. Mr. Grimes.
Much time?
45 minutes. Am I right? This is the 45. Am I correct?
I was just,
If you smile when I said 45 minutes, I mean, are you,
I don't know how that.
okay, all right.
Fine with me.
Okay.
I thought you were
So,
gonna save us for the grand.
Mr. Orphanides, could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Certainly. My name is David is it on? My name is David Orphanides. Last name is spelled Orphanides.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Grimes, could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Joshua Grimes, Grimes.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the,
Yeah. Okay.
do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, so, this is a resumptive hearing.
I was just trying to listen to the recording out in the hallway to remember where we left off, right?
Okay, all right, so where we are is, it says the applicant, David, you will finish your presentation. Then the attorney, the protestant attorney will finish his presentation. I think you had one witness, am I correct?
I had, yes, 1 or 2.
All right, okay, all right, and then there'll be questions from the board, public testimony, and then also planning commission recommendation. So, Mr. Orphanides, why don't you start and try to finish your presentation?
Certainly. Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
I know, okay, one of my good friends.
There we go. Okay. All right. Am I not sharing yet, or is it up on?
There's nothing up yet here.
There we go. All right. So I believe when we were here last, I was having Alex Stuller, who's the architect, he was going through the project and he was talking about really what we have here is we have an just real quickly in summary, it's lot subdivision by right lot sizes, 2 single-family homes. There's a steep slopes refusal. There's a front setback refusal that was not included in the first refusal, which I figured out, and also I think Mr. Hunter from MNC also mentioned we had the refusal corrected for that. And then because both of the structures are attached, they run the full width, at least at the front, full width of the lots. There's a refusal for parking from the front. And through the course of the meetings with MNC, feedback from the neighbors that Mr. Grimes represents, there was a question as to whether or not, well, originally the first refusal included a height refusal, and we made the adjustment and eliminated the height refusal with the changing of the location of the 2 houses. Really, I think what it comes down to right now is that we've moved it from further back in the lot, the 2 houses where the steep slopes aren't as bad, a little closer to the front, but it's not all the way to the front. And it seems that what we're receiving feedback from is to move the houses all the way to the front of the lot. And there are issues for us to do that. We're not trying to be difficult. I know there's some concerns regarding blocking the views of the houses at 263 Hermitage, and some other concerns that they may have that they voiced. But there's a reason for why we're staying where we are, and that has largely to do with the steep slopes that are located at the front of the property, the grade, not only heading back up the property, but across the front of the property. As you'll recall, and as you see in the photograph, this portion of Ripka Street dead ends, and it dead ends, it goes very steep because you can't connect with the upper part. It's much steeper actually than what our property is, although you'll hear our engineer testify that at the front, which I had shown in the last hearing, we had color-coded the topographic survey. And the purple was the darker color was the steeper slopes. I had mentioned that those slopes were 45 plus, and the engineer, and she'll testify to this, there are actually some slopes at the front of this property that are 75 to 80%. And because of those things, it not only impacts the cost of construction, which you're going to hear a little bit, but it also impacts what we're able to deliver. Because of the slopes, you're going to hear that we're, instead of having 2-car parking at each of the houses when they're set back to where we want to have them, again, which is pulled further forward than what was originally proposed. We got as close as we could to the front. There would only be 1 car, which is all the properties on the other side of the street, all that front-loaded parking, were far up the hill from Wild, and that also creates an issue for us in terms of marketability and just viability of the project. So at this point, I think Alex Dollar did a pretty good job the last time talking about why we had moved it. And I think I had mentioned at the last hearing, we have an analysis, a financial analysis report that was done by Rittenhouse Appraisals. And then there was a question regarding the steep slope provisions of the zoning code for the granting of variances. And I'm going to address those right now. And so I do have a report here that you can see right in here that was prepared by Rachel, and excuse me if I butcher the last name, but DiDomenicis. And I believe she's on right now, and she can testify as to the steep slopes criteria in the zoning code for the granting of a variance involving steep slopes.
Rachel?
They're being promoted to panelist, Chair.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
My name is Rachel DiDomenicis. That's Rachel. Last name Didomenicis.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Counsel?
Rachel, and for the board, Rachel's, I don't know if she's appeared before this board before. I'd like to qualify her as an expert. If we can just take a couple minutes and run through her CV, or, I mean, she is a licensed engineer in the state of Pennsylvania, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania,
Hold on.
and some other jurisdictions as well.
For purpose of the testimony, I don't have any
Okay.
objection.
Okay,
All right,
sure.
we can
Go ahead.
just get into it. That's fine.
Sure.
Just,
Thank you.
just real quickly, Rachel, you're licensed as an engineer in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania?
Yes,
And that is your seal that we see on the front of the report that's up on the screen right now?
yes.
And are you licensed in any other jurisdictions, any other states?
I'm also licensed in New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware, and New York.
Okay, thank you. And then I have in front of me a report dated April 2nd, 2026. Cites for, it says steep slope analysis report for 251 Ripka Street. Did you prepare this report?
Yes, I did.
And did you prepare it for the owners of the property, BKN Realty LLC?
Yes.
And I can flip through, it can be your Vanna White, flip through this as you need. But if you could real quickly, because I know we're a little bit on a tight schedule today.
Not really, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
but it's not
so
quite.
let's start with you're aware that the zoning code has certain criteria involving steep slopes and variances from the steep slopes requirements in the zoning code, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And I flipped to page 7, and then I'm just going to go right to the summary, and then we can back out to your reasoning for this. But in that provisions of the zoning code that deal with that, and I have those right here. It's 14.303.8 Romanet or 8I, and then 1.1.A, B, and C. And those criteria say that any requested variance for the property will not result in any of the following: an increase in stormwater runoff, the shifting of earth to adjacent existing buildings and structures downslope or immediately upslope, or an increase in the likelihood of loss of property. And then there's also reference to an earth moving plan described that complies with 14.704.2C, earth moving plan. Real quickly, in terms of 8I.2, Romanet 1.2, you did your report includes an earth moving plan that complies with 14.704.2C, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And then flipping back to your study, back to your report, you oops, here we go. Do 4.1, 4.2, and 4.3 address those 3 criteria that I just read from the zoning code regarding the granting of a variance involving steep slopes?
Yes, that's correct.
And can you just quickly summarize what you certified regarding each of those criteria?
Sure. So for the increase in stormwater runoff, I reviewed both the existing conditions and the proposed design. And based on my analysis, the proposed design will include capturing 100% of the runoff generated by the new impervious surfaces. So this will eliminate any additional runoff. So basically the project produces no increase in runoff, and actually you end up with a net decrease in runoff off of the site.
And that's with the granting of the requested variances, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And then the shifting of the earth?
So with regard to the shifting of the earth, all earth disturbance associated with the construction will be performed using excavation support systems as outlined in a geotechnical report, which is also included as an appendix to my report, to confirm that no neighboring properties will be affected by construction. And in addition, we also have a erosion and sediment control plan prepared, which will ensure that no sediment leaves the site. So with regards to the shifting of earth, the granting of the variance will not result in any shifting of earth to adjacent buildings and structures.
Yeah. And 4.3.
And then with regard to the likelihood of the loss of property, the requested variance will not increase the likelihood of the loss of property, because under current conditions, you have uncontrolled runoff on pretty extreme steep slopes. Like you stated earlier, the slopes at the front of the property go up to 70 to 80%. Under current conditions, those are at risk for erosion and other problems. So by reducing those front slopes, we're actually putting the property into a more stable condition.
And that's
Sorry.
Sorry, what was that?
I don't think my volume's up. Okay, was that you? All right. So, and then 4.4 reference to the earth moving plan that's included as an exhibit at Appendix C, and that complies with 147042C, correct?
Correct.
And then just real quickly for the benefit of the board, because this is a criteria for the granting of a variance, one of the hardships is the unique physical characteristics of the property. We've touched on it, I've touched it in my opening again today. We touched on it the last hearing, or pretty more than touched on it. But as the engineer here, can you speak to the unique physical characteristics of this property and the difficulties in having the houses located at the front of the property?
If you are able to look at the topography plan, which was provided, which you mentioned earlier, which has the color-coded steep slopes, the majority of the steepest slopes are located directly at the front of the property. In the rear of the property, where they're much more gradual, which is where the proposed buildings are being placed, it allows for much safer construction conditions. And if you can take a look, some of these slopes are actually upwards of almost 95% right at the front.
Okay. I know there was some concern expressed, and I think you already addressed this, but just in general, with in referencing or addressing the criteria for the granting of steep slope variances. But there was some concern regarding 263 and their retaining wall that is located as you look at this topography to the right. Again, with the development of this property, do you foresee there being any issue regarding with the granting of the variances to develop in the lesser of the steep slopes where we're proposing to locate the houses, that there's any risk to the soil or the support that's provided with the retaining walls for 263?
Based on the findings in the geotechnical report, no.
Okay. I have no further questions of Rachel at this time, but I've reserved the right to
Counsel.
rebut.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a few questions. Rachel, you just, I believe, offered testimony that the steep slopes at the front of the property are more extreme. Those are my words, not yours, but I think that's the sense of it. So it's better to put the houses further back. I believe you offered testimony like that. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, but there's a driveway, a shared driveway proposed here at the front of the property, isn't there?
Correct.
So aren't the steep slopes at the front of the property going to be impacted under the application as submitted?
Yes.
Okay. Could the houses be relocated at the property line with no setbacks?
Gonna object.
Pardon me?
I'm going to object. Could they? I mean, it's just asking in general.
Well, change the wording.
Yeah.
Would it be given that there's already interference with the steep slopes for the driveway, as you just testified, would it be a dramatically larger impact on the steep slopes if the houses were located at the property line with no setback?
Based on the design that's been looked to, moving the houses forward adds additional requirements for retaining walls at the end of the street. I believe it was a cost factor that's affecting that.
Okay. If there was no driveway at all, and the properties were right up against the property line, would the steep slope disturbance be less?
No.
They would not? Because without a shared driveway, the property why would they not be less? Is the property not going to be as lengthful as long?
Sorry, I'm not understanding the question. They still have to disturb the steepest slopes, which are at the front of the property.
I'm not asking that. And I don't mean, forgive me, you probably didn't understand my question. If there was no driveway and the homes were right up against the property line, presumably the homes would have less of a footprint on the property. So would that require less of a disturbance of the steep slopes?
No, because the steep slopes are located at the front of the property.
So it's your testimony that we're looking at a chart that shows some steep slope, I believe, towards the middle of the property, if not towards the top, that's not a steep slope?
Those slopes are, so the range there, we have some 22%, 19%. Those all fall under the 25% steep slope.
Okay, okay. And we're discussing, my last question, we're discussing steep slopes as being a unique hardship. Are steep slopes I mean, are you familiar with Manayunk?
Yeah.
Are steep slopes unique to this property in Manayunk?
I mean, I can't really speak to the whole of.
So is it your testimony that there are no other, as far as you know, are there other steep slopes in Manayunk? You're saying you don't know the answer to that?
I think we can stipulate there's steep slopes. The question is whether somebody's proposing to build in them or not. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I can
I
stipulate
guess the
that.
question is, can
Yeah.
your witness answer that question?
Yes.
So I think she said she couldn't answer the question, right?
I mean, I was saying we'll stipulate that there's steep slopes.
The testimony was that steep slopes are unique to this property. I'm asking, are steep slopes unique to this property? And we all know Manayunk. I'm asking if she has that knowledge. I mean, everyone here, I believe, knows Manayunk. Are you able to answer the question? If not, you can say you don't answer.
No, I don't have an answer to that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just for some follow-up. Rachel, I pulled up on the screen the revised zoning drawings that were submitted with the amended zoning permit application. It's sheet Z1.2 that was prepared by Fusa Design. You've seen this plan, correct?
Correct.
And to council's question regarding the disturbance between the differences in disturbance and the steepest of slopes, this plan shows the driveway, shows a car going into the driveway. Is all of the area in front of the houses to be with the proposed design to be disturbed, or only part of it?
Sorry, can you say that again?
So the area that's in front of the houses, we can see that there's a driveway, right? Where the
Yes.
car turns into. I can use my pointer here. This area here, is that a disturbed area or is that an undisturbed area?
Undisturbed.
Okay. So with the proposal, and presumably, let me ask you a question. The idea of these ordinances that deal with steep slopes, I mean, the idea is that, and having more controls when they're steeper, the idea is you want to stay out of the steepest of slopes. You want to stay out of them, correct? And disturb them less. Is that not correct?
Correct.
Yes, correct. All right. So between the design that we have that leaves a large area besides the driveway undisturbed, and the design that is being suggested, where it's pulled all the way to the front that you can see here, which one disturbs this more steep slopes?
The one with the houses pulled all the way to the property line disturbs more steep slopes.
Okay. And thank you. And then the question that council asked regarding the general characteristics of Manayunk, and I think you believe you weren't that familiar with that, but a property that has slopes up to 85, 90 degrees, 70 degrees, is that pretty unique?
Excuse me, I object. She testified she doesn't have knowledge of.
No, I'm just asking in general. I'm asking in general, not specific to Manayunk.
In general, that is unique.
Wait a minute. We'll allow her to answer the question, okay?
Yeah.
And then you can make your comments.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So my question wasn't about Manayunk. It's just in general. Is that a unique characteristic when a property has that steep of slopes? And I
Yes.
believe your answer was yes. All right. I have no further questions of this.
Any follow-ups?
No, Mr. Chairman, it's just that we're discussing the unique attributes of this property. That's what they're asking for a variance for.
Right.
And was only suggesting that the condition that they're asking to remedy is a condition faced by many other properties in Manayunk. That's
Correct.
all I was trying to say.
Thank you. You have your next
She answered,
witness.
she didn't know that answer. Yes, I have no further questions, Rachel. Thank you. Carlo Batts, I'm going to have Carlo testify regarding financial hardship.
They're being promoted to panel.
Thank you.
excuse me.
Carlos?
It's Carlo.
Carlo?
Yeah.
Yeah, just-
Good morning. How are y'all today?
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Yes, Carlo L. Batts, Carlo Batts.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Counsel?
And sure.
If I may, and excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to point out, this is a new report that I have not been presented with, and I don't believe was part of the record the last time I checked.
And people in the audience are shaking their head no too. Hillary?
This was submitted for today's hearing, so it is a supplemental exhibit.
Okay, I have not had an
I
opportunity.
submitted it last week.
It's
Yeah.
dated March 30th. I was not aware of it,
Okay,
that's all.
all right. Please proceed.
Sure. Mr. Batts has been qualified as an expert before this board, I believe. But in the past, he's appeared before this board and
Why don't we
provided.
ask counsel, are you okay with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
Please
all right.
proceed.
although I'm not sure what he's testifying about since I haven't
Yeah.
seen the report.
Well, we'll see.
Okay. I mean, so he did, so Mr. Batts did prepare a summary that was presented at the last hearing. We didn't get to it. And then this is just the report that backs that up. Okay. Mr. Batts, what is your position with Rittenhouse Appraisals?
Yes, good morning. I am the principal of Rittenhouse Appraisals. I'm a MAI designated real estate appraiser certified in Pennsylvania.
Okay. And were you hired by the owners of this property to BCAN Realty LLC to prepare a feasibility analysis comparing the report or the proposed development to a development that pulls both of the houses to the front of the property?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm just going to start with the conclusion just to get to that, and then we can work our way backwards to what supports that. Between the two, can you please give your conclusions, and if you need me to turn to those pages, regarding the financial viability of the two projects?
Okay. First, we'll start with the without the setback, which is really the issue at contention here, is that it'll actually the development costs going through the rock that's there and installing utilities would represent about a $460,000 loss to the to the developer, or a 20% loss over fees.
And what were some of the things, and I mean, I'm assuming we're looking at this, I think it's page, I can't see.
It's right at the bottom.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have this thing here. Here we go.
So you have the overall development cost here of building the structures upon the site, which includes the additional cost of site construction being at the street, which is elevated based upon the elevation and the rocks and stuff, the stones that's there at the front of the site, which increases the cost and getting utilities through all of that.
I understand. And were there also other hardscaping or retaining aspects, higher costs that you were provided as well?
Yes, the retaining, you have to put in the retaining walls, anchoring, getting your utilities hooked up, blasting. All these things are kind of like are added, trenching and excavation, hauling.
And then, Mr. Batson, did you also take into consideration the product that would be delivered as a result of bringing the houses to the front of the property, as far as what they would offer to a prospective home buyer, specifically regarding the impact in either eliminating all or all but one of the parking spaces that's proposed with the current proposal?
Yes, by moving it towards the front, you lose your back end sale price also diminishes, and your marketability diminishes because you're offering an inferior product to the marketplace.
And that was based upon the information that was provided by the architect, Alex Duller, correct? Who already testified, I think at our last one. He did testify at our last hearing. And I believe he
Yes, sir.
testified as to that. I can bring him back on if we need. And you can see it in the drawings that, we have that have been provided already. But, so the result of pulling the properties to the front does what to the parking? How does it impact it? How many spaces are eliminated? Because 4 are included, 2 for each house with what's being presently proposed.
I believe it's going to eliminate, I think 3 spaces or whatever. 2 or 3 spaces are going to get eliminated, which also decreases the marketability of the diminishing of off-street parking for each of the houses.
Okay. All right. And then what was your conclusion regarding the proposed development project with the houses set back further?
Well, moving the development back off the street allows to include on-site parking, but then also what happens is it moves the project, lowers the costs because you don't have to do as much site development. You can kind of work around the bedrock that's in place or some of it. So then the project becomes a profitable development.
And what did you have as the profit when you ran the numbers with the setback?
About $65,000 of profit or 3% profit.
And you took into account the increased soft costs that have occurred through this entitlement process, correct?
Exactly.
Legal fees and all the experts that have been hired, correct?
Yes.
Understood. All right. I have no further questions of Mr.
Counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Batch, so bear with me since I haven't looked at your analysis, but your feasibility analysis is really just dealing with financial feasibility, correct? Not whether the project could be done.
I'm not sure I understand your question there.
Did you address, does your feasibility could be taken as, is it feasible to build this project given the conditions? Were you just restricted to a financial analysis?
Well, I think feasibility is based upon if we're going to earn a profit or not. I mean, that's kind of the overall thing. So this with the setbacks and building not at the front of the site, it's a profitable project. Building at the front of the site is not a profitable project.
So feasibility in the terms of your report and your testimony is just financial feasibility in terms of turning a profit on this project. Is that correct?
The feasibility to make it feasible is whether it will turn a profit. Yes, you'll make money.
Thank you. You reported, I believe, that if the property was built to the property line, there would be a $460,000 loss to the developer. Was that correct?
Yes, sir.
And you said that was amounted to a 20% increase in cost, as opposed to increasing the cost 80%. Was it 20% cost would be increased?
There's substantial increases having to deal with the bedrock at the front of the site, which elevates the site construction costs.
Did you offer a percentage? I thought it was 20%.
I didn't hear 20%. I heard 19
Maybe I
points.
misheard.
I don't.
I'm just basic. I thought you said 20%. You said 460. Forgive me, Mr. Chairman. I apologize. Yeah, I
don't think I said a percentage, 20%. I didn't say a percentage. I just said numbers.
But you did say that it would be a $400,000. When you say loss to the developer, do you just mean that the cost would be increased of this project?
Loss to the developer being it's not a feasible project to undertake it. You would not make money.
So the developer couldn't just charge more?
No, because the market is capped by the end sale price of the homes.
Okay. You also suggested that I believe that the cost of the utilities would be more expensive if the property is built to the property line with no setback?
I did say that. Yes, sir.
Okay. if the property is built with the 35 or 36-foot setback, wouldn't the utilities have to be extended further onto the property?
Yes,
And there's no cost to that?
the cost would be different. I'm not the site engineer, I'm the appraiser.
Did you examine what the cost would be if the utilities if the property was built with a 36-foot setback?
Yeah, the cost is diminished because you can work around the bedrock.
Do you have about a number in mind?
Give me a second. I'm working with multiple.
Well, if you don't have it, that's okay. I don't want to belabor the point. If you don't know it,
Okay.
you can just say that.
The overall cost is diminished moving it back off the site across the board because you don't have to deal with the bedrock that's at the front of the site.
All right.
That is
Thank
the
you.
challenge. So that reduces the hardship is reduced of developing the site by moving it back off the site.
I have no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
David, how many more witnesses?
I just have a quick rebuttal. Just real, 3 questions.
How many
quick
more
ones.
witnesses do you have? Because
I-
where you're starting to run out of little time.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I
Yeah, but I
might.
mean, because there's been people waiting here. so
No,
just give me
I
an idea.
understand. I understand. I mean, I'm happy to have them go. The only thing I was going to bring is Alex Duller back to address a few comments that have been raised because I reserved the right to bring them back. But I mean, I'm more than happy to hold that till later and hear so that people don't have to come down again. But I have 3 quick things for Mr. Batts. So.
All right, go ahead.
So, Mr. Batts, so the question that came up was about the feasibility. This report, it shows the financial hardship to the developer because of the unique physical characteristics to place the houses at the front of the property versus putting the houses where they're proposed, correct?
Right.
Okay. And council was talking about charging more or charging less. And and I believe the report states, and you were stating, that not only is there additional cost in pulling the houses to the front in construction, but pulling them to the front, there's less value at the end, if for nothing else, at least 3 of the parking spaces, and not all the parking spaces go away, and that makes the product less marketable or has less value, should I say. It could be both, correct?
Right. You're essentially moving you have to sell to a different market without that.
Okay. And in Manayunk, I mean, you're familiar with Manayunk, on-street parking is pretty tough, correct?
Yes, it's a challenge in many.
Right. So a house with off-street parking versus a house without off-street parking, the house with off-street parking would be much more valuable and more marketable, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And then regarding utilities, I know council didn't ask you to take the time to look through your report, but the cost of utilities between the 2 options is addressed in your report, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
All right. How many more witnesses do you have?
So I was going to bring Alex Duller just back in to talk real quickly about the data that was provided and my client to provide real quickly. The only thing is to
Yeah,
adopt
so-
my statements and
So,
provide. the
we only
finished
have
data.
about 9 minutes left, and I want to use it the best. I don't
Mhm.
want to bring the people in the audience and we have to cut it. So why don't we can you finish in 9 minutes?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, why
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
you finish in
Yeah.
9 minutes, then we'll
Sure.
start fresh.
Sure, because I do want to have Alex adopt his statement. So Alex Duller, please to come in.
They're being promoted to panel.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
My name is Alex Duller, Alex, D as in David, Uller.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Alex, you've heard the statements that I've made to the board, both of that. You were on for the last hearing and you heard those statements and you heard the statements I made today, correct?
Yes.
And are they true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
And would you adopt them as your own?
Yes.
Okay. And then real quickly, you prepared all the drawings, you were in your shop, produced the drawings that are included in the exhibit book that we have been using throughout the proceedings in this matter, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you provide data to both Sarah for the engineering report and for the steep slope report and to Carlo Batts for the financial feasibility study?
To Rachel for the
Okay.
steep slope and
Okay.
to Carlo. Yes, we provided them similar information and CAD information, whatever they needed to be able to complete their analysis.
Okay, all right. And then I just want to be clear, because I'm not sure I was listening to the recording from the last proceeding, but we have just talked with Mr. Batts about this. If the buildings are pulled to the front, can you please, for the board, tell them why the parking, the off-street parking is impacted?
Well, right now, we are proposing 2 stacked parking spaces with each home. If we move the parking to the front, the only way to get parking would be to excavate bedrock. So that was limiting us to 1 parking space per home. But we are unsure we would actually, for the deeper home, be able to get a parking space at all, because the road of Ripka Street stops halfway across our site. And we, in our years of research, trying to find out information from the streets department about how we would go about extending this street due to that extreme steep slope, we have not gotten any progress towards answers for that. So we almost have to assume that we would not be able to extend the street, based on the fact that we've spent 3 years trying to find out how we would do it, and we haven't been able to.
And then if you were to extend the street, I think you mentioned that would go into this hill at the end of Ripka Street. And what would that necessarily require? Aside from the city saying you can extend the street past your property, what else would need to be done other than physically extending the street?
Well, we would have to physically install a 15 to 20 foot high retaining wall. And a retaining wall of that height is difficult to do structurally. It may need to be stepped back. It may, there's significant design that goes into a retaining wall of that height. Ultimately, we would probably need a structural engineer to talk more about that. I just know a very, surface level understanding of the difficulty of it.
And then on retaining walls, there are more retaining wall or higher retaining walls are required with the buildings pulled to the front of the property than with the buildings set back from the property, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I have no further
You
questions.
have any questions?
Yeah, just briefly. Mr. Deller, you just gave some discussion of some difficulties and challenges of this project and dealing with 2 parking spaces rather than 1. Did you investigate doing this property with no parking spaces? Wouldn't that make it easier?
No, it would not make it easier. Ultimately, it makes it financially infeasible.
I didn't ask financially. I asked about building the property because you didn't discuss finances just now.
We spent very limited time looking into that because ultimately the owner said it is financially infeasible to do this exercise.
And what is your professional designation? He's an engineer?
He's an architect.
Sorry?
He's an architect.
Oh, you're an architect. Is there a reason as an architect that this project couldn't be done without parking?
Because it's financially infeasible?
Is that just the financial reason, correct?
Well, excavating of the bedrock, creating new retaining walls, extending the street, all of it.
But forgive me for cutting out. Why do you have, could you do this project with no parking as an architect?
I suppose there is always
You've
a
answered the
design.
question. Thank you.
And I'm going to ask one follow-up question. I'm sorry.
No,
Alex,
don't be-
I'm just asking one question.
Yeah.
Alex, when you pull the property to the front versus having it set back where it is, what happens to the first 2 levels? Is it first level, as far as being under grade or above grade, when you pull it to the front versus having to leave it where it is?
So the houses get deeper into the hill. So the rear of the properties, when we pull it up in our section, the entire garage level is underground. And then the second story of the house is actually partially underground when it is pulled to the front. Whereas when we build it kind of up on top of the hill, the living level is completely under or above grade. And we have less excavation for the parking level. And the parking level is ultimately more open.
So you have more parking level with the, or a ground floor level, could be a cellar, right? It doesn't have to be parking. You have more cellar with it set back than you do with it pulled in the front. Then plus the primary common living area is underground when it's pulled to the front, at least partially underground, where it's not with the setback option, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Council, any other questions? All right, your time's up.
Okay.
We're gonna have to give this a resumptive hearing. And tell me now, how many people do you have today?
I'm just gonna have my client come on to first adopt my
That's
statements.
next time, right?
Next time, and then
All right.
only is he just regarding the information he provided to these.
And how long do you think that'll take?
It literally could take 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay, good. I'm gonna have to continue this to June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. And I want to apologize to the people in the audience. We tried to get more done and we just didn't do it. Not in an open audience, no. No, not now. You can get a hold of here you go, here you go. All right.
Obviously, it's not to my client's benefit to keep this dragging on because he's paying money on this property.
All right,
so,
June 9th,
yeah,
2026 at 9:30 a.m. Okay?
This is not. what
Thank
we-
you both.
We're not benefiting from dragging this out.
And David, stay there,
Thanks.
please.
Yes, thanks. Do I need to change my seat? I think. Thanks. Good. Yes, thank you. Good job. Yeah. Well, no, I figured everybody was here, so I needed to come show up. I didn't.
We're gonna have to get.
I realize that I'm always looking for. All right. Should I stay here or do I need to move over there?
It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, all right.
All right.
Thanks, Josh.
MI 2026-001455. Leonard Reuter, Alan Nachumson, and David Orphanides.
Yeah.
Now, my understanding today that this is strictly timing, am I correct?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
You understand, David? Strictly time.
Just timeliness, yeah.
All right, so Mr. Orphanides, just state your name for the record.
Certainly. My name is David Orphanides. The last name is spelled Orphanides.
You already been sworn.
Yes.
Mr. Nachumson, could you please state your name and spell it for the stenographer?
Yes, Alan Nachumson, ALAN, last name Nachumson, NOCHUMSON.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And Mr. Reuter, could you please state your name and spell it for the stenographer?
Thank you. May it please the board, Leonard F. Reuter, REUTER, Senior Attorney for the City of Philadelphia.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
All right, thank you. So, there'll be a presentation of the appellant on timeliness. There will be, the city will go next after that. And also, Mr. Nachumson will make a presentation by the permit owner. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
So
Please
just-
start.
Just real quick housekeeping. Are we getting into actual notice as well as constructive, or we're just getting into constructive notice?
I read Mr. Orfanini's email after business hours last night. This is my position. We admit that we did not properly post the property, not intentionally, but ultimately it's your client's burden to show when they knew about the zoning permit, and their burden is to show then they filed the notice of appeal within that 30-day period. We will also present evidence to challenge that actual notice, but also will present evidence when they should have known. That's the constructive notice portion of the analysis.
And I understand, Leonard, you'll take a position.
Yes, thank you. The city isn't taking a position. Well, at this point, we don't have to take any position on posting because they're admitting that it wasn't posted. With respect to constructive notice, the city will reserve the right to ask questions, to examine or cross-examine, but that's it.
Right, now, listen, 45 minutes, and I'm going to cut it. We have L&I review coming in here, and we got to get this done.
Certainly.
And when I say 45 minutes, David, I don't mean you take 45 minutes.
No, I
I
understand.
mean, well, that's what happened the last time.
Oh.
So
I got through two
why don't we go, please?
Okay, thanks. All right, I'm going to start with with Christina Christou.
What's that?
I can start, right? I'm just
Yeah.
going to get into it. I'm going to
Go
call my
ahead.
client. I called one of my
Go ahead.
clients. I'm calling Christina Christou.
Okay.
Would she be under Richard Kramer?
A creamer? They're
Creamer?
probably together, yeah.
Okay, all right.
They
Can we-
live together, which again,
All right, so we'll promote, he had raised his hand, so we'll promote him.
Good morning.
Good morning. Could you please state your name and spell for the stenographer?
Yes, Christina, last name Christou, spelled Christina. Last name is Christou, spelled Christou.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Please proceed, counsel.
Christina, you filed the appeal in this instant matter, correct?
yes,
Okay, and did you file it with anybody's assistance? With
Yes.
anybody whose assistance did you file?
my husband, Richard.
Okay, and Richard lives with you,
Yes,
and you both live at what address?
7015 Ardley Street, Philadelphia.
Okay, and how long have you lived at that property?
About 16 years.
Okay, and do you own the property together?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right, and have you owned the property together that whole time?
Yes,
Okay, and I've pulled up on the screen an aerial photograph that does that depict the proximity of your property, 715 Ardley Street, to the property at 6930 Ardley?
yes,
Okay, and do you pass by 6930 Ardley Street on a regular basis?
yes, I do.
Okay. All right. And how do you do that? How do you pass by? On foot, in a car?
Mostly by
bicycle?
car, but also on foot.
Okay. And how often would you say from September of 2025 through to the present, do you pass through the property?
I would say,
Not through the property, by the property, sorry.
yeah, I mean, depending on the time of year, but definitely from September to December, at least once a week.
Mhm.
I would pass by car
Mhm.
and probably by foot, I would say a few times a week. And then after like December time, probably, like once every other day by car.
Okay. And then do you pass by on the Sedgwick Street and the Ardley Street side, one or the other, both?
Both.
Yeah, about the same amount on both, or
Yes.
it differs?
Yep.
Okay, about the same. All right. So just real quickly, and I wasn't sure if it was what Mr. Nachumson was fully saying what I'm going to ask, but have you ever seen a zoning permit posted at this property?
No.
Okay.
Until last week on Thursday, April 2nd.
Okay, and what happened last Thursday?
Coincidentally, I was driving down the street and I saw a notice being erected on the corner of the property.
Now, I have a photo up on my screen right now. This is Exhibit G1D. Is that what you're talking about?
That is, yes.
Okay. And so some permits or some pieces of paper were on the board in this picture. Is that what you're referencing on that
Yes.
board that the gentleman with the maroon shirt is standing behind?
Yes,
And was there more than one of those or just one of those?
just one.
Just one. Okay. And is it located on which side of the property is it located on?
Well, it's on the corner, so it's like on the corner of Ardley and Sedgwick.
Okay. And at that, so last week, did you go over and take a look?
I took a peek, yeah.
Okay. And what's on the board?
I mean, it's just zoning notice, building, I didn't fully read it. I was just kind of skimmed through it. But yeah, it was like a zoning notice.
Okay. Now, so my next question is, I'm going to cut to the chase. When was the first time that you learned that a zoning permit, so if you didn't see it at the property until something maybe last week, when did you learn about a zoning permit that you then filed an appeal at the end of December regarding? When did you learn about that zoning permit?
I first learned about the zoning permit back in December of 2025.
And when, do you know the date and what was the
It was-
occasion? How you came to
yes,
learn about it?
December 15th, and both me and Richard were on a call with the Iman, which is a East Mount Airy community meeting. And that was a meeting that was discussing initially what we thought a proposal for the planning, but we came to find out about an actual zoning permit had been issued.
So just to be clear, so you attended this meet. How did you find out about this meeting?
We found out about this meeting through one of the neighbors, because a neighbor had brought up that there was a proposal for the duplex to be transformed into multiple units.
Okay. And that's why you then attended this meeting?
Yes, we wanted to find out more about the proposal and the plans.
And what you're using the word proposal. So the person that told you about the meeting didn't say anything that a zoning permit was issued, correct?
No, that's correct.
All right. And so you attended the meeting, I'm sorry, did you attend the meeting in person or remotely?
It was remote.
Okay. It was all remote?
Yes.
Okay. And who was with you? Was Richard with you?
Richard was with me.
Okay. Now, did you have any reason to believe before December 15th at the Iman meeting, when you learned that a zoning permit had been issued, that a zoning permit had been approved and it been issued by the Department of Licenses and Inspections?
I
Did
did
you
not.
have any reason before December 15th to believe that to be the case?
No.
Okay. How did it come up at the meeting that a zoning permit? Do you recall?
There was a lot of chatter about the actual proposal, and there was some drawings that were like displayed, and then it just came about on the call that they had been issued a permit, zoning permit. So like I said, we were really surprised that it had got to this level, because initially when we joined the call, we thought we were going to be on the call with the developer as well, just to kind of talk through the actual proposal. So there was a lot of chatter about the actual proposal, and then the plans, and then the zoning came up on that call.
Were there other people on the meeting that were also surprised to learn that that it wasn't just a proposal, that the permit had already been issued?
Yes.
Yeah, to the form of that question.
Okay, that's fine. And after the December 15th meeting, when you learned that a permit had actually been issued, what action did you take, and when did you take it regarding the filing of the appeal?
Well, me and Richard discussed the issue with the zoning and not being aware of the zoning. So me and Richard sat down and we filed the appeal.
Okay. And there was nothing and you filed that appeal before the end of December, correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you used the language in your appeal of nunc pro tunc. That's a pretty technical term. Where did you come to use that phrase? Because that has a pretty specific meaning.
Yeah, Richard primarily like put the language together. I'm not an attorney, and I'm not fully literate in this kind of field, but yeah, I had support from my husband.
Okay. And when there were communications between you and the zoning board's executive director. I have the email up in reference to it being a non-protunct appeal, being late. When you say the appeal was late, why did you use that phrase?
In the I'm not really clear because it was late because we had heard that the permits were initially made back in September.
Okay.
So we knew we were late in filing.
So you took it as it was more than 30 days after the permit. The date
Yes.
of the permit, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
And
correct.
and what Richard told you, correct? Is
Yeah.
why you used the non-protunct language.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no other activity at the property. You didn't see any posting. Was there any other unusual activity at the property between September and December 15th that might have led you to believe that there was a zoning permit that was issued for this property?
There was definitely some activity going on at the property, and it was sporadic, but the property has had activity going on over the last few years. So it just kind of seemed normal, nothing sort of like something new was happening. It just kind of seemed like, yeah, the building was in a state, it had some like scaffolding attached to it, some wooden scaffolding. So it was just kind of, there was stuff going on like sporadically, like I said. So it didn't seem like anything major was happening.
I have no further questions. I just reserve the right to rebut.
Counsel?
Yes, good morning, Ms. Christo. Yeah. Never been at this table. It's a little different. All right.
They did that on purpose.
They
Go
did,
ahead.
David.
This seat is higher, right? The chair is higher. Taller than me, so I need to sit on some books or something.
Go ahead.
I'm shrinking.
So, Ms. Christo, are you stating that the first time you learned of this development project was in early December of 2025?
No, the first time I heard of the project was back in November. Richard had heard about it, and he had told me about a proposal going on, a proposed project. And when he told me about it, I was like, wanting to know more because of the nature of the proposal, and it just kind of seemed off. So anyway, he had told me about the project and sent me a link to a petition regarding the property, regarding the proposal, where I kind of, also learned a lot more about the actual proposed plans. So I learned about it back in November 9th, just as the proposal.
May I share my screen?
Yeah.
I need to be promoted to a panelist, please.
Yep. Someone please promote Mr. Nachumson.
He's being promoted to panel.
Thank you very much.
While I'm being promoted as a panelist, I thought, and maybe I misheard, I thought the first time you heard about this project in any way was in early December of 2025. And then the first time you heard about the project particularly was at a meeting of the East Mountain Area's Neighbors Association, which was in mid-December of 2025. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's not the question I asked. I was very specific with my question. My question was, when did you first learn that their zoning permit had been issued? No, I didn't use project or proposal or general. I was very
Testimony
specific.
just now was November. Did I
November
hear that?
9th.
What you learned about like the project,
project.
yeah. I used the word zoning permit. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's why I
All
think.
right.
I just wanted to help
All right.
along here.
So I'm sharing my screen, and these are materials that our office submitted to the ZBA. We did a resubmission because I found another piece of legislation that Sydney Bass proposed and was, passed City Council in November of 2020. But if you look at this, is this the petition that you were stating that was created in November 9th of 2025 oppose increasing apartments at 6930 Ardley Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
That is what I signed on the 9th of November. I don't know when it was created.
Yeah, well, I circled it. This is just a printout that our office got off the internet. That circle did not exist at the time. Our office embellished that piece of paper just so the board can see it. But it does say post created on November 9th, 2025, right?
Yes.
Okay. And did the petition include any additional information about the project?
It included like a drawing, a rendering of what was proposed, the units, and then just like a summary of what was going to, how the dwelling was going to be attached to the neighboring.
Have you ever done development on any property you have ever owned?
Yes.
Okay. When and how?
We've done development here at the house that we live in.
Okay. And did you get permits when you did that?
Yes.
Okay. And did you hire an architect when you did that?
My husband mainly takes care of it. That's his forte.
Okay, so your husband, and maybe we'll have to ask him what his forte is, but what's your understanding what his forte is and his experience level?
Well, my understanding is that in order to make adjustments to your property, you have to get a building permit and you have to get a license, or if you're changing a dwelling, you have to get authorization in terms of changing the zoning.
Gotcha. And again, I think I asked this question, when you did development on your property, which is nearby to this property, you did obtain the requisite permits and approvals from the city of Philadelphia?
Yes.
Okay. Were you involved in making sure that the permits were actually obtained?
Yes, I mean they were here and they were displayed when we got the permits. They're quite prominent.
Okay. Did you confirm it online in any way that the permits were obtained?
My husband would have taken care of that.
Okay.
I personally would not have done that.
Okay. All right. So as early as November 9th of 2025, you knew the existence of this development project?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to go to, let's see, which is our Exhibit 11, your petition non protunc, which is the cover page. Here you state in the last paragraph, appellant and supporting neighbors, upon learning of the zoning changes that yielded this miscarriage of approval, have begun interviewing counsel to represent them in this matter. This filing will be updated to reflect retained counsel upon selection, and as such is filed with leave to amend. So you discussed this matter with some neighbors of yours, is that correct?
That's correct. Yes. So the neighbors there was multiple neighbors that we discussed regarding our like filing this appeal.
Okay. When did those conversations with your neighbors start?
They probably started for the appeal in December when we found out about the zoning, about the permits.
So in terms of just generally about the project, when did you start?
Generally, it would have been in November.
And would that be November 9th?
Probably a little bit before, just because probably wasn't. I maybe a day or two. I'm not 100% sure exactly of when, but it would have been in November.
All right. And then, by the way, how did you find that petition of change.org?
Richard texted it to me.
Okay. And then, so in November, which neighbors were you communicating with about the development project?
A next door neighbor, Kevin, and another neighbor, Maxine.
Well, let's go one at a time. Next door neighbor, Kevin. What's
Yes.
Kevin's full name?
What's Kevin? I don't know his full name.
All right, but, so what's his address? Where does he live?
He lives next door. So we are 1715 Ardley Street. He would be 1770. 1770 Ardley Street.
Can't do that. What? I think somebody might have chimed in.
Yeah, I think, her
Husband helped it.
That's fine.
Richard, you can't speak.
But,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Um,
I know you want to help.
yeah, all right, so Kevin, so let's start with Kevin. How did you and Kevin communicate? Verbally, or in writing?
I did not communicate with Kevin verbally. Richard communicated with him and then told me of a conversation that he had, and vice versa. When he had a conversation with Maxine, he told me about the conversation that he had with Maxine regarding the property.
All right, so what did your husband tell you about his conversation with Kevin?
Well, there was going to be a meeting, an imam meeting on December 15th, and that we should join the meeting.
This was a meeting that was scheduled as early November of 2025.
It's a monthly meeting. So, and they have set dates. So, I'm not 100% sure the dates, like I said, when Richard had a discussion with Kevin, but, I knew that the neighbors were chattering amongst them regarding the project.
So there was a meeting that was ultimately scheduled with the neighborhood organization. Do you have a copy of a notice that was sent in writing in some capacity?
No, there was probably a link sent, an email or a text message, but most likely an email. It was not sent to me, it was sent to Richard, and we both joined from his computer.
Okay. What about Maxine? Like, you're saying that Richard, your husband, had communications with Maxine as well, is that correct?
Yep.
All right, and where does Maxine live?
She lives adjacent to our property. So she lives on like Mount Pleasant. So she lives adjacent. We see her from time to time when she takes her dog out for a walk, and we'll see her and just chit chat. So that's most likely where we found out about the project.
And do you know Maxine's last name?
No, I do not.
Were there any other neighbors you spoke to in November of 2025 regarding this project?
No, not that I recall.
Okay, and what other communications with Richard in November of 2025 did you have regarding this project?
Just chatter and just the text message that I got from him regarding signing the petition, the link to the petition.
So, Mr. Chair, I know that our office sent a subpoena request for certain documents. I do believe that we should receive at least those text messages between the appellant and her husband, Mr. Kramer, to see what was in those text messages and the extent of what was explained to her at the time. And I would respectfully request that.
We're going to take that under consideration, okay?
Yeah, I mean, Mr. Orvanides could give it too voluntarily, but I would ask that, the board strongly consider that, especially we're talking about the fact that if the application was filed in December 29th of 2025, then she had until the end of November of 2025 to file this appeal. And so I do think these text messages in November are very relevant to the proceedings.
And Mr. Orfanides wants to respond.
So I would say they're completely irrelevant. And the reason they weren't included is that they talk about I understand what Mr. Nachmanson's doing. He's using the language repeatedly, the project, the development project. And that's very different, thinking that there's something coming down the pike, or somebody might be doing something, and that's not knowing that there's a permit. So I believe that, so real quickly,
This is just, you're going to answer the question
Yeah.
about
So
whether
the-
or not it should be
I
subpoenaed,
believe the
or you
petition-
should voluntarily give it.
The
right?
petition is completely irrelevant, and because they provided in February 19th, a copy of the petition.
Right.
Which I can flash up on the screen because they've already provided it, but it's okay. It's not in their latest exhibit book because it doesn't say a darn thing about a zoning permit. So the petition is, otherwise I would have put it in because I think it's completely
I
irrelevant.
think Leonard has a comment here. Did you?
I have no position on subpoenaing text messages or anything like that. I do have maybe a couple questions.
Sure.
For the witness.
Sure.
Have you done, Ellen?
I'm not, but
No, go ahead.
I will say this, I will stipulate that my clients texted between each other on November 9th with the link to the
Okay.
to the petition. That's,
Okay.
and I have, that's fine,
All
but
right.
again, I think it's irrelevant because it doesn't talk about zoning permit.
Alan.
Yeah, Ms. Christo, I apologize. I didn't ask, what do you do for a living?
I'm a designer.
You're a designer. Okay, and in what way?
Graphic design.
Gotcha. All right. And what does Mr. Kramer do?
He has a design and build firm.
A design and build firm in terms of real estate?
Property.
Property?
Yep.
Okay. All right. I would definitely think that Mr. Kramer would be a witness I would like to ask. All right, so
I believe he's a party, so, yeah,
he's not.
he is,
He's not.
he is.
He's not.
As a husband, well,
Sure.
I disagree, but, okay.
Let's go ahead, Alan, and finish.
Yeah. All right. Are there any, besides Kevin and Maxine, are there any other, and your husband, were there any other individuals who you talked to about the project in November of 2025?
No.
All right. Was one of the supporting neighbors that you spoke with the owner or occupant of 6928 Ardley Street?
Can you repeat that?
You referenced supporting neighbors.
Yes.
In your petition non pro tunc. Was one of the neighbors that you referenced generally the owner and or occupant of 6928 Ardley Street?
I'm just trying to reference like who lives at 6928 Ardley Street.
I have a list of a roster of individuals. Let me take a look. Tracy Nickens. Tracy Nickens.
No, I don't know who that is.
Okay. All right. Have you been in contact with Councilmember Bass regarding this project?
Me personally?
Yes.
No.
Right. Is it your understanding whether or not your husband has been in contact with Councilmember Bass?
Yes.
So he has been in contact with Councilmember Bass.
I believe, from what I believe, I don't know directly with her, but definitely with someone on her team.
All right. So, but you don't know who on her team?
I don't know off the top of my head who on the team.
All right. So I'm just going to go over the timeline that we understand it regarding this matter. So you're stating you have no knowledge prior to early or mid-December about the zoning permit, allowing for, you have no knowledge that the zoning permit was issued in September 15th of 2025. You have no knowledge before mid-December about that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And you also indicated that you do acknowledge that there was activity at the property you know, in November-ish and October-ish of 2025. Is that correct?
She didn't.
Yes.
Objection. Okay, she didn't say that, but okay.
All right. And did you see a porta potty installed at the property in October of 2025?
I don't recall.
All right. And you didn't see the zoning permit that was posted on the window of the property facing Arley Street side beginning in September 2020, September 25th of 2025.
I did not know.
All right. Did you have any conversations with I'm trying to find the person's name. And you didn't see the demolition work that was taking place at the property from October 22nd, 2025 to October 31st of 2025 at the property?
I didn't see any demolition work. Yeah, I don't know whether that, like, if that was going on inside, I wouldn't have been able to have seen it.
And you didn't see the crew of 15 individuals doing that work over the
Objection.
course of that time period?
He's testifying.
Well, I think she can answer that if she knows.
I don't recall.
Sure.
And you had no knowledge that Councilmember Bass introduced legislation in September of 2025, changing the zoning from RM1 to RTA1.
No.
And you had no knowledge regarding the violation notices that were issued on November 4th of 2025 regarding the property?
No.
And you have no knowledge that on November 12th of 2025, that legislation to change the zoning from RM1 to RTA1 was signed by the mayor on November 12th of 2025. You have no knowledge of that.
No.
And you have no knowledge that Councilmember Bass then introduced legislation to City Council on November 20th of 2025, authorizing her to appeal the LNI decision granting the zoning permit, which is the subject of your appeal.
No.
I have no further questions.
Leonard?
Sure. Just a couple quick questions from the city, just so we're clear on the chronology. Ms. Christo, are you a member of East Mount Airy Neighbors?
Not a full-time member, but I became a member I've joined the Zoom's meetings a couple of times.
Okay, including before December 15th?
Not before December 15th, no.
Is Mr. Creamer a member of East Mount Airy Neighbors?
He has participated in a number of the calls.
Including before December 15th?
No.
Okay, but you did say that when you joined, I guess, when you say you were at a EMON meeting on or about December 15th, was that in person or on Zoom?
That was remotely. That was the first meeting that we attended.
Okay, and that was remotely. And you said at that time although 6930 Ardley wasn't on their agenda, there was some discussion about what was happening at 6930?
That's correct.
Okay, and you say it was on December 15th that you learned that a zoning permit had been issued. Is that what your testimony was?
That's correct, yes.
And that's because somebody else at the meeting had said that the zoning permit had been issued?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so somebody else in EMON had learned that a zoning permit had been issued, presumably before that time?
Yes.
Okay. Now you also say that, and actually, I think Mr. Knoxon's already asked this, but I just want to confirm, you had said that you had walked by the property many times and that you had seen activity in October and November. Is that correct?
I don't know if it was November. If anything, it may have been earlier because
Okay.
yeah, yeah, because as the weather gets colder, I'm less walking around the neighborhood. So
No, thank you for that. So now you did say, though, that you didn't notice in particular that there was any demolition work or that you didn't notice whether there were, I don't know, whatever Alan said, 15 people going in and out, or that there was a porta potty installed. So if you can recall, if you don't remember, that's fine, but if you can recall, what activity did you see taking place in October?
I believe I saw the grass around the property being cut because the grass had overgrown and it was about 3 feet tall. And then on one of the days, I noticed that the grass had all been cut. So that was like that was what I really noticed because it was on the outside of the property and it was pretty evident.
Okay, I don't have any other questions.
David, you have 6 minutes.
Okay, fine. Christina, to be clear, again, Mr. Nachimson has used the word development project repeatedly. Between November and December, did you think that a zoning permit had been issued, or and if not, what did you think was happening regarding 6930?
No, I didn't know that there was a zoning permit issued. I thought that there was a proposed plan of changes to the property. And again, like I said, on December 15th, that's why we joined the meeting, so we could understand more about the proposed plan.
Okay. And so did you think it was more like the variance process? Like somebody wants to do something and they're going to come to the community and they're going to present and there's going to be discussion and maybe some give and take? And did you think it was going to be more like that?
Yes, absolutely. We thought because we were concerned about parking. So we were curious in terms of how they were going to resolve parking. That was one of our concerns.
Okay. And I have so real quickly, that proposal, the petition, and this was provided by council previously, I think on, like I said, February 19th, Alex had provided it via email. Does that look like the petition? I'm going to flip through it. And again, this is what they provided. Does that look like the materials, the rendering and the floor plans you mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. So when I say I downloaded, I also can still download this to this day. You wouldn't be surprised that it's not the same petition?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but this is the petition provided by council for the property owner. I've highlighted in pink 2 places where it uses the word proposal. Does that look like the petition that you looked at?
Yes.
Okay, and did you see anywhere in that petition reference to zoning permit already being issued?
No.
Okay. And then I have Mr. Nachimson had asked you whether you had ever seen a permit posted in the window on Ardley Street. This photograph that I have up right now, it's a picture I took. That's the property there with the arrow pointing in it, correct?
Yes.
And Ardley Street, it's the sidewalk on the left side, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Correct? All right.
That's correct.
So, and there's a hill there next to the sidewalk, correct?
Correct.
And the house is set back pretty far, substantially from
Yes.
that sidewalk, correct?
Yes.
Pretty hard to see that window, wouldn't you admit?
Yes. I mean, I'm struggling to look at the screen right now.
Well, yeah, that's computer. So, all right. And you're not aware of what the actual posting requirements are for a permit as far as where they're to be located on the property? Do you know anything about that?
I mean, I know that they should be fairly visible because we've had them in our property and they need to be brightly colored so they're visible.
Okay. And that they need to be like located close to the sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay. Did the activity that was going on in the fall, and this is my last question, did You said that that seemed like activity you had seen at the property over the several years beforehand, correct?
Yes,
It didn't give you any idea that anything different was happening, correct?
that's correct.
And for the past activity, were you aware that based upon that activity, any zoning permits had been issued, that you could relate that activity to a zoning permit being issued?
No, no.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay. Sure, real quick.
So this will be very quick. Again, I just wanted to clarify because I'm a little confused, Ms. Christo. You said that you went to the December 15th meeting of EMON because you wanted to learn more about the project or proposal at 6930 Ardley. Is that right?
That's right.
How did you know that EMON was going to be discussing 6930 Ardley?
I believe that we were, well, we didn't 100%, I believe we were told that they would be discussing it on that particular meeting.
Okay, so again, there were other persons that were either members or associated with EMON that you believe did know about what was happening at 6930 Ardley. Is that right? Is that fair to
Yes.
say? Okay. And did anybody at this December 15th meeting of EMON say anything to the effect that they were other people, to the best of your ability to tell, were other people at, well, let's scratch the question. I think it's already been asked and answered. That's all right. I don't have any.
And then just one question.
No.
Okay.
No,
All
we're
right.
done. We're
Okay.
done. We're done. So,
No follow-up.
I thought we were going to be a little further on, so we're going to have to do this as a resumptive hearing. It'll be June 9th, 2026 at 9:30 a.m. And before we get back to that, Hillary will look at your requests for subpoenas and we'll get back to you, let you know where we stand with that.
And I would also ask Mr. Chair that Mr. Creamer be in attendance because we would like to ask him questions.
And the council's agreed to that.
Yeah, I mean, because I
And then
still
Leonard?
think he's a party, but he's going to testify anyway. I think he's relevant.
Again, the city's not taking a position because we don't know what was in people's heads
Right.
at the time. But I'm not sure why we need any further testimony at all, because the issue is not whether Ms. Christo herself had any specific knowledge of the issuance of a zoning permit, but whether there was sufficient notice, because otherwise then there would be an infinite amount of time for somebody to say, well, I didn't know this permit had been issued.
Right.
So just because they as an individual didn't know.
No, that's exactly, that's the law.
No, actually, David, that's not.
All right,
the law.
all right, we're going to
Because then
come
we can
back.
challenge things.
Listen to me, we're going to come back.
That's not if you post.
We're going to come back on June 9th.
That's
at
not correct.
9:30 a.m.
You know,
And what we want to do is that particular day, we're going to end the timeliness issue and where we stand. That's going to be done that day. And, you know, we're going to give it a limited time and we're going to get this done. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you, all three. Is there anyone in the audience whose case has not been called from this morning?
Chair, this is Ian Hegarty, Executive Director. I just wanted to make an announcement for the folks who are watching this hearing. This is an appeal against L&I, so there won't be any public testimony. If you have your hand raised to offer testimony on this matter, please lower your hand. There is no public testimony on this matter. Thank you.
Wow. I'm learning patience.
Very much so. Yeah, I mean, I know what I'm saying.